Good afternoon. We're convening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Commerce and Consumer Protection here in Senate Conference Room 224, as well as online. We have one bill up this afternoon, HB 1971 HD2, relating to peer-to-peer car sharing, which authorizes and regulates peer-to-peer car sharing, including establishing insurance requirements, imposing GET and rental motor vehicle surcharge taxes, and making other substantive amendments. That said, in the event that we are cut off, I guess we'll just be cut off.
Yeah, because we got a lateral, so we got to finish.
Yeah, we just got to finish this up today. So with that said, why don't we jump straight into this? And up first on HB 1971 is Office of Consumer Protection. Good afternoon.
Chairs, Vice Chair, members, Michael Moriyama for the BCCA's Office of Consumer Protection. OCP stands on its written testimony, so we'd like to make some additional comments. OCP respectfully opposes HB 1971 HB2 and instead supports HB 333 HB3 SB2 that have increased and appropriate protections for shared car owners, drivers, Hawaii residents, and innocent bystanders. The nightmare scenario with any vehicle, including a peer-to-peer shared car, is that innocent Hawaii residents and bystanders are severely injured when a car, due to a driver error or mechanical breakdown, falls through a crowded sidewalk, similar to what happened off Alamana Boulevard a few years back. Without appropriate protections, such incidents can be financially catastrophic for Hawaii families. Under Hawaii's no-fault insurance law.
Can you put your mic
I'm
towards you?
sorry.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Under Hawaii's no-fault insurance law, every individual owner is required to insure their vehicle. So because no-fault insurance is mandatory for everybody, regardless of personal financial condition, the liability limits were set very low to make the coverage affordable. The federal law 49 USC 30106 that limits vicarious liability applies only to HRS 437D rental cars. However, HB 1971 makes it very clear that peer-to-peer cars are not intended to be considered 437D rental cars. Therefore, any reference to 49 USC 30106 is improper and internally inconsistent. Protecting Hawaii residents and bystanders through appropriate peer-to-peer regulation is important and can ease the continuing rise in cost of living in Hawaii by providing adequate protections. One measure of the significant cost of living in Hawaii is the median price of a single-family home on Oahu, which as of January 2022 was $1,060,000. That's the 6th month in a row that price exceeded $1 million. The 2019 report,
Can I ask you to summarize?
yes, I'm sorry. 2019 report issued by the Financial Health Network also found that only 31% of Hawaii households were financially healthy. TNC insurance requirements more accurately acknowledge the expense of living in Hawaii today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Up next is the Department of Taxation.
Yes, Chair Lee and Chair Baker, Jonathan White on behalf of the Department of Tax. I'd like to testify on this briefly. The department supports the tax provisions of this bill, basically because it just has a statement in there that peer-to-peer car sharing organizations are subject to the ordinary rental car tax, which is in line with the department's current position, that's the business model that it is most akin to. And we're also asking for an amendment to the bill just to add that statement to the RVST tax itself, just to have that inside the RVST chapter. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is the Insurance Commissioner. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Chair Baker, members of the committee. Good afternoon, Colin Hayashida, Insurance Commissioner for the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. The department stands on its written testimony, offering comments as far as regarding the insurance requirements of the bill. We prefer HB 1619 HD2 and the current SD1 that came out. So the preferential language would be in the SD1. We thank the committee for us to offer testimony and will be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is the Hawaii Insurers Council. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs, members of the committee. Allison Uyoka for Hawaii Insurers Council. We support the intent of the bill, and we're asking for a few amendments to the insurance portion of the bill, aligned with the commissioner in House Bill 1619, Senate Draft 1, the draft that recently came out. And our amendments are to ensure that when someone is injured in a crash with a peer-to-peer, that there is a priority of coverage to avoid unnecessary litigation. HIC feels that at least provisions for insurance are vital for peer-to-peers to protect victims in crashes involving them. And I have our coverage counsel, Mike Tanoy, present today in case there are any questions for us. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Tax Foundation.
Good afternoon, Jade McMillan on behalf of the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We've submitted written comments on the measure and we'll just stand on our written comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Enterprise Holdings.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Chair Baker, members of the committee, Matt Sujimura on behalf of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You have our written testimony in front of you, so we'll stand on that. Please note that there is language that we're requesting for the committee report, and that just more so deals with pointing out that peer-to-peers will be subject to the same rules and regulations with regards to operations at the airport that would require them to come to an agreement with the DOT airports in order to operate on premises. But happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thanks.
Thank you. Up next is the American Property Casualty Insurance Association. Good afternoon.
Aloha chairs, members of the committee, Annie Makabagal on behalf of the APCIA. We'll stand on our written testimony, and we're basically making comments in support of the insurance measures. And we want to echo, basically echoing the insurance commissioner's testimony as well as HIC. I'm happy to be available for if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We have testimony and support from GEICO and Maui Metropolitan Planning Organization, Hawaii Association for Justice.
Afternoon, chairs, members of the committee, Mike Yosua on behalf of the Hawaii Association for Justice. We submitted our written comments. We'd just like to concur with the OCP and insurance commissioner's comment regarding increasing insurance amounts. I would also note that raising it to $1 million, which is suggested as in HB 1619, is not a substantial increase in premiums. It would probably amount to a few $100s per year, which in light of the protection of Hawaii residents and those that may be affected by this, I think it's a small cost. So available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Get Around. Koa McClellan with comments, and then Soledad Roybal, also for Get Around. Oh, there's Kekoa. Good afternoon.
Hi, aloha chairs, members of the committees. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I'll refer you to the written testimony provided by Get Around's Public Policy Manager, Soledad Roybal. The heart of this issue in previous committee hearings seems to have stemmed around the question of what is a peer-to-peer car sharing app and service most like? Is it most like a TNC, or is it most like a rental car? At least for Get Around, we know that the model does focus on kama'aina like us, hourly trips that promote the sharing of a vehicle that an individual or a family may already have, really increasing access for mobility for our ohana and for those that need it most. And the measure before you today, we appreciate you hearing this measure as well. We think is a little bit better than the measure that we heard last week. And it does carve out some bright lines and safe harbors, specifically on language that ensures that anyone using a get around is covered from the time they click on to the time that they click up. That really is important. And it's important to get around other peer-to-peer car sharing platforms that we provide insurance for anyone using our service. So Soledad and I will be here today if you have any questions. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And Soledad, were you wishing to testify separately?
Yes, I am.
Oh, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. As Hiko mentioned, I am the public policy manager at Get Around. And as I've explained in previous testimony, we're fully digital, contactless. We do support a fair regulatory framework designed to ensure that everyone is safe and protected, and the intent of this bill. We value the security of our customers and actually currently provide coverage that is 2.5 times greater than the state minimum. Our coverage protects owners, guests, and anyone who might be involved in an accident with Get Around. This coverage is included in our prices. It cannot be declined, unlike with traditional rental car companies. We offer this coverage level knowing that there has been no actual data demonstrating that users of peer-to-peer car sharing are at any greater risk of an accident than any other average driver, including those drivers of rental cars. In previous testimony, there has been no explanation as to, or no data provided by the Hawaii Insurance Commission, by HIC, or by others who've been pushing for our industry to insure guests at a level that's 10 times higher than the state minimum. If there's a sincere concern for public safety, there are 100 times more rental cars in Hawaii than cars on our shared platforms. And there are over 800,000 vehicles registered in Oahu alone, all of which are required to be insured at a state minimum coverage levels. We are less than 1% of the cars on the road in Hawaii. There is no pro-consumer or pro-competition reason to ask only peer-to-peer car sharing and Kama'aina hosts to bear this burden. With respect to the comparison of peer-to-peer car sharing to TNCs like Uber and Lyft, the reality is that our models are totally different. Get Around guests begin a trip, they locate the car, they unlock it, it's unoccupied, it's a parked car that they've booked, and they're gonna drive to a location of their choosing, groceries, doctors, picking up their kids at school. You know, when you get into an Uber or Lyft, you're driven by a stranger, they're driving you to a location they may or may not have ever been to, and you don't know.
Ask you to summarize, please.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak on the merits of sound regulation for our industry. I'm here to answer any concerns or questions, and mahalo for your consideration of our written and oral testimony.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Turo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs, Chair Lee, members of the committee, Tammy Boo on behalf of Turo. In addition to the points that Soledad from Get Around just raised regarding the 1 million insurance requirement, I wanted to speak to 2 other amendments, chairs, so that you have the full scope of how our proposed amendments would affect, or how the insurance commissioner's proposed amendments would affect the peer-to-peer marketplace and your constituents. With regard to the admitted carrier, it's our understanding that the language as proposed and preferred by the insurance commissioner would mean that we may only obtain insurance coverage through an admitted carrier. And currently, Turo's insurance policies are with Travelers Excess and Surplus Lines Company. So while the parent company Travelers Insurance is an admitted carrier in Hawaii, it does not currently offer the distinct coverage necessary for peer-to-peer in the admitted market. It is done only through its surplus lines. And so in talking with our head of insurance, he believes that if passed as proposed, we would literally be unable to comply and therefore unable to operate. And so as we aim to operate not just for today, but into the future, we asked that the language from the 2021 session that the insurance commissioner proposed and that Turo had agreed to, which in part says insurers offering insurance through a peer-to-peer platform shall be subject to 431 be the language. With regard to optional coverage, we face a similar predicament. It's our understanding that under existing law, an insurer is required to offer a named insured certain declinable optional coverages. In our context, the named insured is the platform. However, the commissioner's amendments refer to the shared car driver that would be able to elect or decline coverage. And so we propose addressing this issue the same way as a TNC statute to reflect the peer-to-peer program as the name insured. And finally, we offer language after discussion from the House related to safety recalls, and also ask that amendments in related Senate Bill 2444 SD2 from Chair Baker's last committee hearing be reflected in this bill. Thank you, chairs.
Thank you very much. I believe that's all the testimony we have on this measure. Are there any questions? If not, all right, thank you, everybody. Why don't we take a quick recess for decision making? Recess. All right, good afternoon. We're reconvening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Commerce and Consumer Protection here in conference room 224 for decision-making on our 3 p.m. agenda on HB 1971 HD2 relating to peer-to-peer car sharing. Thank you to everybody who testified. We'll note we want to move this ahead, making some amendments, chairs having conferred. The first to the point that I think most of the testimony was focused on regarding insurance. We'll note there's another measure which a number of the testifiers alluded to, HB 1619, which has already passed and is sitting, I think, in one of its last committees. So what we'll do is strike the insurance-related provisions out of this measure and use this vehicle as a regulatory measure to establish the taxation and other requirements that the bill intends to address. Secondly, we'd like to address the recall issues that were cited by some of the testifiers and amend page 16, line 13, such that a shared car owner shall, in lines 116, read, if a shared car owner or peer-to-peer car sharing program has received notice or is aware of a safety recall, and that would make both the shared car owner and peer-to-peer platform responsible for ensuring cars with recalls are not in circulation. And secondly, we'll adopt the DOE tax amendments, simply clarifying that the rental vehicle surcharge tax amending 251-2A should add, quote, a peer-to-peer car sharing program as defined in its relevant chapter shall be subject to the tax imposed by this subsection and be subject to other requirements of this chapter. And then finally, adopting the enterprise recommendations, making peer-to-peer subject to the same requirements to have a contract with the DOT as rental cars do at airports. And I'll note this does have a defective date on it, and it will go forward to the joint JDC and Ways and Means committees if adopted. So any discussion on this? If not, okay. Vice Chair, please take the vote.
Chair's recommendation on HB 1971 House Draft 2 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Decoy. Aye. Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Okay, Senator Favela is excused. Your measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Same recommendation for CPN committee to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair Chang, aye. Senator Decoit.
Aye.
Senator Nishihara.
Aye.
Senator Riviere.
Aye.
Senator Sen Buenaventura. Excused. Senator Favela. Excused. The recommendation is adopted.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks to our friends of the CPN committee for joining us today, and we are adjourned. All right, good afternoon. We're convening the Committee on Transportation. Once more on our 3:05 p.m. agenda, which is decision-making on a measure previously heard, HB 1953 HD2 relating to concessions. We had a significant amount of testimony on this one. Appreciate our committee members, Department of Transportation, other stakeholders for trying to work on this over the last couple of days. We did have a proposed amendment on this measure. So essentially, what this would do is narrow the scope of the bill. We know that airlines got a significant amount of federal dollars in bailouts. We want to make sure that our concessionaires are also appropriately taken care of, particularly those who are unable to receive relief due to the nature of their contract status. So the amendment to the bill would narrow the measure and would simply be this, 102-10, modification of contract terms. It would read, notwithstanding any other law to the contrary, if during the term of any type of contract that has been executed or is presently enforced, including leases, holdovers, and revocable permits, and would finish out the existing section from there. So in other words, we're limiting the measure to provide discretion to DOT to apply relief to holdovers and revocable permittees, the same as they have been doing to leases. And that is the entire substance of the bill at this point. So any discussion about that? Vice Chair.
My understanding is this doesn't affect the airports. So in case of, I guess, disruption, who administers something to give them relief? Because they're holdovers, yeah, holdovers and as well as RPs.
Right. So we're still not changing, I guess, the administration of relief. That would still be the administrator of the airport's deputy director there, who has discretion currently and has been giving out relief to some concessions. So this would allow that same person to provide that relief to non-lease contracts, so revocable permits and holdovers.
Okay, have you given them, because this is something new, does DOT
We did
know of this changes?
we did send that over to them, yes.
Okay, do they have advice?
I spoke to the administrator this morning, and he was okay with it. So any other discussion? If not, all right, Vice Chair, please take the vote. On HB 1953 HD2 relating to concessions. Recommendation to pass with amendments.
Chair's recommendation on HB 1953 House Draft 2 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator DeGoit. Aye. Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela. Aye. Okay, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna adjourn our 3:05 p.m. Good afternoon. We're convening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Agriculture and Environment here in Senate Conference Room 224 on our 3:30 p.m. joint agenda. And we have one bill on the agenda this afternoon, which is HB 2276 HD1 relating to invasive species, which appropriates funds to the Department of Transportation for albizia and other sorts of invasive removal. And testifying first on this measure on 2276 is the Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chair Lee, Chair Gabbard, and members of the committee. The DOT is in support of the measure, and we would like to stand on our written testimony. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is the Department of Budget and Finance with comments. DLNR. DLNR with us? DLNR is in support. Hawaiian Electric also in support, and we have additional testimony from 4 individuals in support and 1 in opposition. If we missed anyone on Zoom, please let us know now. Otherwise, that's all the testimony we have for this measure. Are there any questions? All right, DLNR is with us. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Hello, Heather McMillan, DLNR Urban and Community Forester. We stand on our written testimony.
Thank
to
you.
answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on this measure? I believe that's all the testifiers we have. If not, why don't we recess for decision making? All right, good afternoon. We're reconvening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Agriculture and Environment for decision-making on our 3:30 p.m. agenda on HB 2276 HD1 relating to invasive species, which appropriates funds for invasive species removal. Seeing testimony in support, we'd like to recommend moving this on as is. Any discussion, comments? If not, I'll take the vote. Recommendation is to move HB 2276 HD1 with amendment, or excuse me, as is, pass unamended. I'll vote aye. Senator Inouye excused. Senator DeCoit.
Aye.
Senator Shimbukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela excused.
And same recommendation for AEN. We'll defer decision-making until tomorrow, March 23rd, 2:05 PM in room 224. Oh, hang on.
We're not done yet. We haven't gavelled out.
We haven't gavelled. Thank you, Carl.
Quiet a second.
As I was saying.
Great
Same
timing.
recommendation to pass as is. Any discussion? Chair votes aye, vice chair.
Aye. Vice chair votes aye. I don't have the vote sheet.
Oh. We have an extra vote sheet.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
right zone,
it's on it later,
yeah.
Yeah.
I get protect the community.
Here
you go.
Oh, okay.
I have a Post-it.
Okay. Chair. Vice chair. 276.
HD1. As is.
What's the other?
Side, Rhodes, Ocasio, and Burnett.
Okay. What's the last one? Is he here?
No, just the three of us.
Okay. So House Bill 2276, House Draft 1, passes as is. Chair goes aye, Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Rhodes. Senator Ocasio excused. Senator Favela excused. Motion's adopted.
Thank you.
All right,
members.
thank you. All right. Thanks to our AEN friends. We are adjourned. Hey, good afternoon once more. We're convening the joint committees on transportation and public safety, intergovernmental and military affairs on our 3:15 PM agenda on HB 1991 HD2 relating to consumer protection, which makes it harder to steal bikes. And testifying first on this measure is the Attorney General.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Chair Nishihara, members of the committees, Adrian Dakwa, Deputy Attorney General on behalf of the department. If the goal of this bill is to create a publicly available database of stolen bicycle serial and emblem numbers, we should make that clear that that's part of the data that needs to be recorded. We have suggested language to amend Section 7, which is on page 6 of the bill. Second, with regards to whether this offense is merely a violation or a crime, if defacing a serial number on a bike is a misdemeanor, we should make it clear that stealing or selling a stolen bike is also a misdemeanor as well. So we have suggested language that would make that clearer. The part of what this bill hopes to do is deter bicycle theft. You want to make it easier on prosecution and victims of bicycle theft. As it stands now, the prosecutor would have to prove that the seller knew or was aware that the sale occurred in a county of 500,000 or more. And that has nothing to do with whether the victim comes to court and says, that's my bike, this guy tried to sell it back to me. Those are the kinds of little things that will frustrate justice in the end. So we would ask that you take out that requirement that we would have to prove that he acted, that was aware that the sale occurred in the county of 500,000 or more. Also, with regards to cases of stolen property, stolen bikes, oftentimes the criminals or defendants will say, I didn't know it was stolen. And it makes a world of difference of whether the prosecution has to disprove it beyond a reasonable doubt, as opposed to having the defendant say, yes, I checked the database. Here's the proof that I checked it. It's an affirmative defense. So we would ask that those comments or those amendments also be inserted. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next is Honolulu Police Department. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the committees. I'm Captain Jar from Honolulu Police Department. HPD is in support of House Bill 1991, House Draft 2, and we stand by written testimony. Thank you for this opportunity. We'll be standing by for any questions.
Thank you. Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Chair Nishihara, and Vice Chair DeCoy. I'm Jonathan Spiker here on behalf of the Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association. And we support this bill, but I'd like to clarify, we support actually all versions of this bill, but I'm specifically addressing HB 1991 SD1, Senate Draft 1. This bill is the result of meetings and engagements and back and forth between the Honolulu Police Department, the community, and the Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association. This bill addresses the concerns that were previously raised at the Hawaii State Legislature in 2005, 2008, 2014, and 2019, as well as before Honolulu City Council in 2013. And I'd also like to let the committee know that the Honolulu Police Department and the Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association, we met in February 2022 to discuss this bill. And I believe all parties are in agreement with passing this bill. This bill allows senior citizens, as well as senior citizens with disabilities who have been in business for decades but are computer illiterate, to continue their businesses and their livelihood to support their families. So thank you for supporting small businesses. So in closing, the Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association supports HB 1991, Senate Draft 1, and asks that that version of the bill be passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kama'aina Loan and Cash for Gold.
Aloha.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Yes. There you are.
Aloha. My name is Richard Dan. I'm a Maui pawnbroker and secondhand dealer. I've been a secondhand dealer and pawnbroker for 45 years on Maui. I was at that meeting in February with Honolulu Police Department. This bill came before you, and its companion bill is 2646. And you folks, PSM, sent it back out to request that they have the stakeholders meeting that was requested in 2014. That makes the most sense. The bill is a bicycle theft bill and tweaks to the pawnbroker bill. They're two separate things here. Maybe they should be two separate bills. I don't know. If you decide to go ahead with this bill and not go to HR 154 and not split them up, I have two issues with the bill as it's written right now. My first issue is they're allowing electronic reporting by pawnbrokers for free in Honolulu, but on Maui, they want to charge that. They want to charge us for for electronic reporting. That's not fair. If it's going to be free for Honolulu, the electronic reporting, it should be free for the other islands. The second thing is, and it's in my testimony, their grandfather clauses for pawnbrokers had their license for 20 years or more. I've had my license for well over 20 years, but there have been periods of time through COVID where I've been unable to renew my license because we couldn't get over to DMV. So I think we should change that verbiage to where the dealer first obtained a pawn or secondhand license on or before January 1st, 2002, and has operated a pawn or secondhand goods store with a physical address open to the public ever since that date. I stand on my testimony. I want to thank you all very much. Have a great day.
All right, thank you very much. We also have testimony from about 10 individuals in support. Mr. Spiker, we had you registered. Oh, please come up. Okay, yeah. My apologies.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Chair Nishihara, Vice Chair DeCoy, committee members. My name is John Spiker. I'm the owner of Hawaii Gold and Silver Company. I've been in business for 43 years. I've been the president of Hawaii Pawnbrokers Association for 20 years. I've given testimony here at the legislature since 1981. I support House Bill 1991, Senate Draft 1 in its current form. This bill allows seniors, citizens, and citizens with disabilities who have been in business for decades to continue their business. Wanted to mention that what Kamaina Gold, Richard Dan mentioned, as far as having the license, that makes a lot of sense in case someone's business license lapsed for some reason, a medical reason or something. That he had mentioned, as long as they had their license prior to 2002, and that they have a physical business that's been consistently operating. Because like he mentioned, during COVID, there might have been a few places that might not have been able to get their license renewed in time. And I also want to thank the current legislature and Honolulu Police Department for their time and effort in putting this bill forward. I would like to also acknowledge HPD Major Ben Moskowitz and other Honolulu Police Department officers for meeting with us to listen and discuss our industry concerns. I respectfully submit this testimony and thank you for your attention to this bill.
Thank you very much. I believe that's all the testimony we have. Do we miss anyone online? If not, all right, any questions on this measure? Okay, if not, why don't we recess for decision making? Recess. Good afternoon. We're reconvening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Public Safety, Intergovernmental and Military Affairs for decision-making on our 3:15 p.m. agenda on House Bill 1991 HD2 relating to consumer protection. And I'll note it was a proposed Senate draft that we had heard. So I want to move this measure forward, having consulted with our committees here, making a couple amendments. First, adopting the recommendation from the pawnbrokers to ensure that as long as a business had been consistently operating and originally held a license back in 2002, then they're good to go. And then secondly, adopting the technical amendments from the Attorney General in their testimony regarding reporting reporting stolen bicycles, making that a misdemeanor, adopting the recommendations, page 5, line 3, that quote, the prosecution need not prove the person's state of mind as to the attendant circumstance of the offense occurring in a county with a population of 500,000 or more. Adding a new subsection F on page 5, line 3 also, quote, it shall be an affirmative defense if the person checked the publicly available online stolen item database and did not see the bicycle listed prior to selling it. And finally, section 3, page 6, lines 5 through 9, amend to read that it specifically states the serial number or emblem number is required to be documented. So I believe that addresses everybody's concerns here. I'll note this does have a defective date on it going forward. Oh, excuse me, no, it has a effective date. Why don't we defect that just to be safe to July 1, 2050 and move it along. Any discussion on this measure? If not, oh shoot. So I'll take the vote here. So voting on HB 1991 HD2, recommendation is to pass with amendments. I'll vote aye. Senator Inouye is excused. Senator DeQuoit.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela excused. Recommendation is adopted.
Same recommendation. Public safety.
Members vote on HB 1991 House Draft 2. Chair's recommendation is to vote with amendments. Senator Nishihara.
Aye.
Senator DeQuoit, aye. Senator Baker.
Aye.
Senator Vera excused. Senator Favela excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. We are adjourned. All right, good afternoon. We're convening for the 5th time today, the Committee on Transportation on our 3:20 p.m. agenda. We have several resolutions up. The first is SCR 193 and SR 186. requesting the DOT to develop a plan for cost-effective disposition of Safe Travels thermal screening equipment and tracing camera equipment and other related operations. And testifying first is DOT.
Chair Lee.
Good afternoon.
Chair Lee, Vice Chair Inouye, members of the committee, the DOT would like to stand on our written testimony, and we thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
That's all the testimony we have. Are there any questions? If not, all right, thank you. Let's move on to the next set of measures, SCR 142 and SR 126. Urging DOT to establish a Safe Routes to Schools advisory group to develop a comprehensive statewide Safe Routes to Schools strategic plan. And testifying first is DOT.
Chair Lee, Vice Chair Inouye, members of the committee, the DOT would like to stand on our testimony in opposition to the measure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Up next is Department of Health. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Lee and members of the committee. I'm Lola Urban, representing Dr. Libby Char for the Department of Health. And we will stand on our testimony on comments and will defer to the Department of Transportation on implications for implementation and fiscal costs. We did offer amendments should the concurrent resolution be amended so that we can provide some clarifications on the director's designees. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Department of Education. Good afternoon. And thank you so much for your patience. You're the only one who's been in the room sitting waiting for like 5 agendas.
Feels a little lonely. Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Senator DeCoit, Randy Tanaka, Department of Education, Office of Facilities and Operations. We support the intent of the bill. We realize that there are some costs associated with it. I think you should also know that there is a working group already established from DOT. Our transportation person participates in that working group, so it's not like it's void. There's a place already operating. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you. Up next is Aloha Care.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Peggy Mirswell with Aloha Care. We'll stand on our written testimony in support of the measure with just a small addition to the task force, the advisory group, if you choose to move the committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next is Ulupono.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Inouye, members of the committee, Micah Munikata on behalf of the Ulupono Initiative. We'd like to stand on our testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. And testifying next is the Hawaii Public Health Institute.
Good afternoon, Chair. Members of the committee, Amanda Fernandez on behalf of Hawaii Public Health Institute and also on behalf of the Obesity Prevention Task Force, we strongly support this resolution. As you know, many neighborhoods in Hawaii still lack the infrastructure to allow keiki to safely walk, roll, or bike or bus to school. This is putting our kids at risk. An analysis of Hawaii EMS calls found that pedestrian and bicyclist injuries to children are most likely to occur in the hours they are traveling to and from school. Safe Routes to School is a proven program that addresses this problem. It's effective in improving children's safety, reducing air pollution, and encouraging physical activity. Over a 3-year period, a comparative analysis based on a national sample of school SRTS programs found that the program was associated with a 2-fold increase in the percentage of students who walked to school and also who biked to school. Currently, the Department of Transportation does not set goals and metrics for the percentage of students who use active modes of transportation to get to school. The department maintains a list of schools that host SRTS programs, but they don't currently offer or fund technical assistance for program development. In addition, the state has significant unspent balances of federal funds that could be used to support this programming. Additionally, difficulties navigating the process of applying for funds means that communities often feel discouraged from applying. The work of an advisory group convened pursuant to this resolution could help address these problems and also ensure further collaboration with the counties and various stakeholders to ensure that this program is successful and sustained long-term. We ask that the committee move this measure forward, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you. Testifying next is the American Heart Association in support. We have 3 individuals in support as well. And I believe that's all the testimony we have on this measure. Unless we missed anyone on Zoom. And if not, all right, any questions on this measure? All right, if not, let's move on to the last reso on our agenda today, which is SCR 167 and SR 159, urging the Department of Transportation to convene an intergovernmental task force to assist the County of Hawaii in establishing and certifying a metropolitan planning organization. Testifying first on 167 is Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Chair Lee, Chair Lee and members of the committee, the DOT would like to stand on our written testimony, which provides comments on the measure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Up next is the County of Hawaii Mass Transit Agency with comments and 1 individual in opposition. Is that all the testimony we have? I believe that's all the testimony we have. Any questions on this one? These 2, I should say. All right, if not, why don't we recess for decision making? Recess. Good afternoon. We're reconvening the Committee on Transportation on our 3:20 p.m. agenda for decision making on several resolutions. Up first is SCR 193 and SR 186, requesting DOT to develop a plan for cost-effective disposition of Safe Travels thermal screening and tracing camera equipment and other related operations. I'd like to move both these measures forward. Yeah, sorry, SCR 193 and SR 186. We'd like to move both these measures forward as is. Any discussion? If not, right. Pull out the vote sheets for this. So voting on SCR 193 and SR 186, recommendation is to pass unamended. Although I, Vice Chair Inouye excused, Senator DeCoite.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela excused. Recommendations are adopted. Okay, so moving on to SCR 142 and SR 126, urging DOT to establish a Safe Routes to Schools advisory group. I'd like to move these forward too, but with some amendments to address some of the points that were raised. So for these two, for SCR 142 and SR 126, we'd like to make a couple amendments. First, page 2, lines 34 to 37, amending the DOH designees pursuant to their testimony. Secondly, adding 1 member from the House and 1 from the Senate as designated by the leadership in each House. We'd like to also allow the group to elect its own chair, so it's a little more flexible for everybody. We'd like to also add the ability to invite other members as necessary. And then we want to change the title and where the report should go to reflect all of that. So instead of just having DOT do it, obviously it's a collaborative effort and not squarely and solely on them. So any questions or comments, discussion? All right, if not, voting on SCR, and the amendment from Aloha Care adding a member from them. Okay, voting on SCR 142 and SR 126, recommendation is to pass with amendments. I'll vote aye. Vice Chair excused. Senator DeCoite.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela excused. Recommendations are adopted. Okay, and then lastly, moving on to SCR 167 and SR 159, urging DOT to convene an intergovernmental task force to assist the County of Hawaii in establishing and certifying an MPO. Recommendation is to pass these along with amendments as well, adopting the County of Hawaii Mass Transit Agency's various tech amendments that they recommended. Any discussion on this? If not, so voting on SCR 167 and SR 159, recommendation is passed with amendments. I'll vote aye. Vice Chair excused. Senator DeQuate.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela excused. All right, recommendations are adopted. That takes us out of, I think, our last agenda for the day. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patience as we went through 5 different agendas. Really appreciate it. We are adjourned.